off the bat into this set, Darrin gets down smashed a couple of times there, but he had good DI and got out of a lot of situations. So Marth has a pretty bad item throw, so they typically don't actually like catching turnips, because there's not a lot they can really do with them. They're best off to like catch them and Z-drop them, just like stunt Peach's continuation sometimes. But Darrin went for it. It could even just have been a tool too. I don't want to give it my position, but I want to get it out of here. That was a very clean fair from Darrin. And a great up tilt. Sometimes that's all it takes. That's a great fair from Outlet. That fair covers a lot, because the idea is like you cover the area with the fair just in case, and you're actionable so quickly that you can cover like what their get up option is if you call it wrong anyway. You're at limited options, but at least you have choices. Not quite. This is a really dangerous position, though. Marth has a lot of advantage there. But Outlet got down safely somehow. Darrin choosing to run up for the grab was a little risky in the terms of, like, obviously Marth has so many disjointed hitboxes that reach out really far with a sword. Outlet still holding onto this pretty high percentage stock. If one more closes out here, it's going to look really good. Now, Marth can't get any true combo off this percentage off of grab. But it's still a really scary position for Peach to have to be stuck in. An up tilt or a really good tipper area to close this. There's the tipper fair. Darrin at a 105% deficit, but otherwise it's pretty close. A couple good grab setups should close this out on Yoshi. It's very scary. A dot eye with a recatch. Yeah, that's exactly what I was mentioning. That situation can be really dangerous really quick. Oh wow, power shield recovery. And that'll close out the stock. But Darrin made so much mileage out of that, you being at that like high percentage deficit. Now he's created the situation like on the other side, where Outlet has to put in that much work if they want this not to be an even match. With this same stock. Huge. And that's the stock. And it comes to a 0-0 last stock situation. So Aura is a huge fan of Darrin. And I'm sure that probably has to do something to do with his Marth Peach matchup, I would have to assume, right? Oh, nothing coming out from that. No poke. Trades. Really scary area for both these players. Down smash can create a really scary ledge guard situation on Marth. And any like grab or pivot tipper setup could be devastating for Peach. Amazing nair on his platform there. That might just kill outright, yeah, and it did. Outlet7 really clutching that one out. He held like a dominant lead through the majority of the match. But once it got down to really close in that last stock situation, it was anyone's game, pretty clearly. Because Darrin had that amazing stock when he was at 2 stocks, with 105% behind, took a stock. Basically. He left him like 130 and then closed it out without taking a percentage, which is a really good low. I want to make a big shout out. I don't know if anyone's currently in the chat. I don't have that information, but people who have stopped by throughout the, hour that we've been going. Oh my gosh, we've been live for 2.5 hours. Shouts to Auk, Mustache Massacre, and Quins. All great players in our region. stopping by to view things. I see Quinn's cheering me on for my last set versus Brayson. That was a fantastic set. Brayson really just pulled it back. I really have no excuses for it. I know it'd be easy to look at that game 3 and say, like, I lost composure or something. No, even when they started pulling their lead back versus me, I was just trying to think creatively, like, they're getting a lot of F-smash situations. And couldn't make it happen. But you know what? We have another Marth here, Darrin, who's, some would say, better than Brayson. We're going to see how he deals with a floaty in some of these situations differently. Outlet7 is obviously not going to be camping the ledge versus him, or all-around camping him. But he currently has a small lead here. Oh wow, that air dodge barely pulled through. So we're going to see another Marth versus Floaty here. If you're a Marth, you might have a heyday today because we have VMPR here, Darrin here, and Brayson. All fantastic Marth players from the Portland area. Fantastic. Actually, very funny. It's like best Marth in Portland, best Marth in BV, and best Marth in Vancouver, probably. We have like a good spread of all the different Marths you could be asking for from our region. And they all play pretty wildly different. So if you're out here looking for a Marth to steal some ideas from, I think between those 3 you'll get something. There's also a couple fantastic Peach players here. Aura and Outlet7 here are both notably strong players in Oregon as a whole. Oh my gosh, can't believe that time by. A fantastic shield grab, and this could create a really brutal edge guard. This is so similar to the last game we just saw, where Outlet is trying to get an additional stock lead here, while Darrin is trying to catch up, and then he has to play a whole stock catch up at a super high percentage, even if he gets away with it. So these are an even stock situation. We saw this exact situation come up last game, where they're even stocks, Darrin's at super high percent, but he clutched out last time and made something happen from it, but he won't this time. However, with that said, this is Marth versus the Floaty. Some grab setups can be really scary at some of these low to mid percentages. And like right here, this is a very scary down air city or a pivot tipper. Sometimes, as Pete, sometimes the higher percentage you get when grabs become a way less scary option, you get into that, sorry to Reddit here, but you get into that, like that Marth zone, right, where you can't follow anything up. It becomes a lot more difficult for Marth to find follow-ups on these floaties. Once you start hitting that 100% area, you kind of rely on having to have like a raw call-out if you want to keep things simple. Marth does have some really creative setups you can do, though. VMPR has a really creative setup, particularly for Puff, but I'm sure it has percentages where it works for Peach as well. You can get some, I think, down throws into, it's a perfect wave dash into an up tilt that'll kill pretty reasonably during that nasty Marth zone area. But it still relies on certain DI options, while having to rely on poor spacing for F-smash in other cases. And Outlet does finally lose the stock there, but now we see Darrin playing from behind on a high percentage again, and Outlet clutches it out on this one. Do you know who I played losers?
I think you're actually winning.
Really? I might. I didn't know. Ooh, very creative down tilt spam right there. It's not going to actually close out yet. It's going to need a little bit more work. But Peach has no jump, no float, not a lot of resources. Does get back, though. Outlet is currently thinking, I want this to end right now, so I do not have to play a last stock with you at only 58%. An interesting up smash, which I'm going to guess was supposed to be an up tilt.
You're playing
Okay. As soon as the set's over. Ooh, a very creative dash attack there into the grab. Darrin's really good about finding those dash attack setups versus floaties. I've known from experience. I hope not to see Outlet fishing for straws here. I like the dash through looking for like a crouch cancel if necessary, or a down smash with a bad roll or something. That's a good setup. And an up air is not going to kill quite yet. That might have been a reverse up B kind of situation. May have killed if you could have lined it up. Oh, into a DBZ moment right there, but Darrin takes game 2. A good amount of the room is invested in this set right here. What? We go into game 3. Oh, this is not the correct stage. There is hold the pause. There's hold the pause. Okay, somebody turned it off. I hate when people fuck up with the tournament setup. Why mess with it? So that wasn't a real game. Shut up, Hawk. There was a misunderstanding about the ban. Outlet thought it was left open. This is the real game 3. Ooh, fantastic spot dodge, actually. Great recognition, knowing that that was on the table. That's one of those situations with Peach where you can kind of create a true RPS situation. Ooh, that could have been set up for something kind of nasty on Outlet7. Just fell through, though. And Darrin had pretty decent DI to avoid it. Good down smash. Oh! A uncharacteristic early up B. Might have been expecting like an early approach or something like a dash technical edge. Maybe to deal with a turnip coming out. If Peach had committed to throwing a turnip, it might have been like too long to be able to approach afterwards, and that up B likely would have covered it. Outlet is looking to set up as much percentage as possible here, so we're probably going to be seeing like anything that Outlet can set up that's a little bit safer for gathering percentage. Obviously, down smashes are super plentiful and lining up a lot of damage. Or we might see like a dare setup looking for something to start up, even if it doesn't have the intention of taking another stock right away. But Darrin keeps it respectable. Ooh, lining up for what could have been a potentially really scary grab situation. Outlet is expecting Darrin to land a little bit more than it might seem like he's actually going for. Darrin expending these really high fair combos as well. And there's another one of those dash attacks that I would say Darrin is really like plentiful with as well. That might close it out, yeah. This is the kind of moment where I think Outlet's previous game plans are getting poked through a little bit, and the stage isn't really like, benefiting as much as maybe expected. So Peach is kind of like the stage because you like moves to poke through platforms and stuff. But that also really benefits Marth. And I don't think Outlet's been doing a whole lot of that, nor is he like a platform camper kind of player. So I don't know if the stage pick is going to particularly benefit them. Although it's in general not a bad pick by any means. Even if you're not abusing it for what it's good for the matchup. Oh wow, I'm surprised that turnip didn't come in just in time. There's one of those anti-floaty dash attacks I was talking about. Oh wow. Oh wow! Outlet7 grabs the ledge for the first time in his career. And that fair's not going to close out yet, but Outlet looks like he expected it to be done there. This is a really scary situation, likely to come to a... Oh wow. Great air dodge. Outlet's DI has been fantastic on avoiding these floaty killers with the side B into up tilt, but Darrin is still trying to find him because they're obviously so beneficial when you line them up correctly. closing out a Peach at 162 can be a little hard because grabs kind of go offline for you. You're kind of relying on using like soft moves to line up something else for you. The thing about Marth is sometimes you don't want people to have too much percentage, so you can still have a lot of your combo options available. Peach doesn't care so much about it, because Peach has a lot of options where you can clip people and make situations out of a lot of your moves versus Marth. So Outlet7 is happy to take 47% out of that. Marth should still have a jump here, though, and go straight to ledge anyway. Obviously, if you can get to ledge without having to expend any of your resources, that's sort of ideal. That's going to close it. Wow. A well-placed back air. I think Darrin got a little bit sloppy about placing that, which is excellent. We're going to be stepping off of this setup for just a second, as I have to play a match that will likely not be up here.